Hello everyone, I'm Silverraptor and welcome back to another Wargame Red Dragon replay commentary video where we are playing with our Eastern Bloc Airborne deck that we made in the last video that I have for you right here. Now, I did want to release this video a little bit earlier, but unfortunately I developed a cough over the New Year's, and if I had tried to do the replay of this game, then when I recorded, then you would just hear me coughing every other word. And I didn't want to subjugate you to that kind of torture. I do have a little bit of it lingering, but I'm going to try to avoid coughing for the next 40 minutes or so as I record this video, which is long overdue. Well, maybe not long overdue, but overdue nonetheless. So, let's get this played and started. So at the start, I will be going over to the left out onto center, and in a typical airborne fashion, I have nothing but helicopters because really that's the only thing I can bring infantry in with an airborne deck. So we have interesting selection here. As you can see, the Mi-24D and the Sockles will rocket ahead. They are the fastest of the helicopters at the start. With the Mi-24D, it does have a recon squad. It's going to be heading over here into this mountainside. I'm trying to get some recon out and then see if I can get them onto the mountain so they can peek over and see what the enemy might be doing over in Gregory, as it's also flanked by the Mi-24P and the Sockles with their anti-air missiles to stop any other counter heli rush pushes in case the enemy decided to do that. Now I'm also doing something a little interesting. I'm also, a lot of people try to put their CV in the town here in the very back. I'm actually trying to hide my CV down into this little forested region. I understand that this is probably common for some other people as well, but I never really actually put a CV down in this forested. I have actually always put it into the town, or oftentimes put it into the town. So at the start, my Mi-17s have unloaded off their infantry, which have to be 2 stacks of Conquerors M's and 2 Groms. This will help spread out and provide huge area denial. I'm not really going to push here onto the center side. I want to be a support player. And over here onto the right, we've got our resident Wako going up against the enemy's Volkswagenjägers and Chasseurs. Looks like it's a Eurocorps deck. Pato Bronzi are going in. It does seem like a pretty close fight in terms of veterancy. The thing is, the enemy does seem to have a lot more infantry than Wako has, unfortunately, and I don't think he's going to be able to hold this town at the start. Over on the left, my camp Schwimmer, I hope I said that right, have come out. They have exceptional optics and exceptional stealth and very good optics, so they're going to be able to see what the enemy is doing over here. Over on to the right, I'm trying to help my ally out, bringing a MiG-29 with its thermal HE napalm bomb, so they're going to explode and cause stunning damage with the napalm. They do hit the Pato Bronzi a little bit, but they also hit the special boat squad and then the Volkswagenjägers as well. Caused quite a bit of damage and helped shield the Pato Bronzi from those Volkswagenjägers, so they can try to hold off the enemy forces. But it looks like Wako is going to be pushed out onto this town. And fun little fact, I have never played on this map where whichever side that I am on, you're like guaranteed to lose this town. I've never had anyone take the town at the start of the game. We've always had to retake the town after it's taken. Now, you might be saying, oh, you're so bad because you always try to take this town. Well, let me tell you, I'm not always the one trying to take this town. So, if anyone is really good at taking this town, please let me know. I'd like to play a game where we actually win this at the start of the game and then able to push forward afterwards, instead of having to fight through the town again. So over here on the left-hand side, as you can see, I am trying to get this stuff organized. I see that the Dornier 205s, which are basically just Hueys, that have now disappeared because my camp Schwimmers have moved back. I'm not entirely sure why I moved that back. So I see that they have some helicopters there. They're pretty sure they're empty. They probably unloaded into Gregory. The enemy is making a massive push here onto the right, and they've got Fuchs that are coming straight down, and they might try to spot this 120-point BRDM 2U. Pryad has brought in a Ka-29 TB, but it has come into range of 3 Crotels, so that thing is going to be shut down really quickly. The Premka, they're also being chased down by these Fuchs. Kremkas do not have, oh, they actually have front side armor, but not enough to really do well against Fuchs machine gun fire. Wacko's brought in some Mi-35s, the Czechoslovakia variant, and yes, for those of you who might have realized when I compared the different helicopters of Czechoslovakia and East Germany and Poland, and I said that East German helicopters were better with the price range, yes, I did notice that for the Kokon missiles, the East Germans have 4 missiles instead of the 8 that the Mi-35 have, and if I had noticed that, I might have picked a different helicopter. But what's done is done. Over on the left, it looks like the enemy is trying to push. I have moved my Sokos and Mi-17 and Mi-24D. The Sokos is going to shoot down all the helicopters, and the Mi-24D is going to use its TAC-B as well on that. And with its Fleta missiles and the Mi-17's HE power, all vehicles that are trying to come up quickly get taken care of, and the helicopters have done their job, so they're going to be sent back for a quick resupply, which I shall organize right here around this Mi-6 as a mini fob, so the helicopters can quickly resupply and get back into the fight if they so need. Enemies trying to cross the open here, and the Conqueror's M instantly acquire it with 78% accuracy. It is just a 5-point truck of death, but it has showed the enemy that, nope, I am expecting you from pushing in here. So Zuluandi are going up against SAS. They do have a little bit of advantage with that light machine gun, but the SAS, being elite trained, are just going to walk right by with some passing shots at them, and are going to take out those Zuluandi pretty quickly. A T-55M has popped up. It just needs to stop to be quite accurate, but it has a 90% accuracy at this close range. So definitely a very good sniper recon tank if you so need, especially since it's got very good optics. So not a bad tank for if you're playing the Finnish nation. OT-64Cs are trying to get into range with their Malyuka missiles before these Avzat PCs discover the BRDM-2U. It is going to discover it, and they are going to open up with their machine guns and quickly take that out. The OT-64Cs really needed to move up to defend against the CV from this attack. There's a fuel leak. This thing is not going to last very long at all. I have tried to move my Mi-17 and Mi-24P, but with those Crotels there, I am not going to be able to get anywhere close until those go out. Get taken out. There's a Challenger 1 Mark III, and I bring in a Sierra 30 as well as a MiG-29. The MiG-29 is actually going for this attack marker where seed missiles have come up, but the MiG-29 does get stunned before it's able to drop its payload. I tried to evac, but there should be enemy defenses coming up. Yep, anti-air missile coming and shoots down my MiG-29 before it's able to get away. But I believe I may have got the Challenger tank. Yes, I did with that Sierra 30, so at least that run wasn't a complete failure. So now the SAS have been taken out by my Mi-17's HE power rockets as they were landing. So it wasn't just like I had them stopped. I was actually unloading my infantry, and the Mi-17s decided, hey, while we're unloading the Sappersy, why don't we just take out some SAS squads at the same time? So it's pretty well done. Now Sappersy, because they are shock trained, I do actually like to put them in the front line a bit with their napalm. So bringing this in as a regular infantry, just knowing that they're weak against vehicles is one thing. But the enemy is making a massive push forward here. But with the amount of rocket pods that I have ready to respond to this, and my Stack Kari able to hold off the enemy push, we should be able to defend against this with the Mi-24D's Fleta missiles, the Mi-17. Those Modern 1 A2s should not last very long. Fleta missile flying wildly as it usually does and missing. Well, that was unfortunate, but these Martyr ones are so panicked up they are not useful at all. I did lose both my Conqueror's M's as the enemy did smoke it out, but Priad's going to help me out by dropping an Avia 28 bomb on these Martyr 1 A2s. And yep, the bomb is curving quite nicely. I think it's going to hit dead center. And only one Martyr 1 A2 is left with 1 HP. Now my helicopter's hovered a little bit too long, so artillery is coming in, or rather mortars are targeting it. But since we have a mini fob, it doesn't have to travel very far to resupply, and the enemy is unlikely to know that this is here to be able to artillery it properly. So now we are trying to regain our foothold. Priad and I are helping out Wacko over here onto the right-hand side. Priad's been getting by moving his Mach-Schützen forward. I probably haven't noticed that he's doing this just yet. I have brought in some MI-8Ts with some LSTR-40s to help out, so we basically have our SAS version of ourselves. And I'm going to be moving the MI-8Ts up so that the rocket pods can take out these Volkswagen 90s and help Priad, allowing him to finally push forward. As my Vadiscari and my Separasi will begin also pushing forward as well. Why was that plus 13? Anyone see that? Why did I get plus 13 points there? That's interesting. Wacko's also beginning to open up with napalm from the Ugan of the Yugoslavian nation. 5-point trucks are trying to open up. My Mi-8Ts are taking some missiles in the face, but they are using up their missiles, so unless they get resupplied, which there happens to be a resupply truck there, god damn it, that would have been a good move on my part to just use up all the missiles on relatively cheaper helicopters. Now Priad's also doing a two-pronged push. He has his tank pushed up. This YW is just constantly smoking out this town, so any ATGMs is unable to target this T-55M as it picks off the enemy units. SAS have revealed to be onto the edge here as my troops are coming to reinforce Priad's badly worn down Machutsen, as well as the LASTR-40s to also help out. They have been acquired by this tank, however. Looks like an AMX-40 is acquiring my Vidiscari. So they just need to run as fast as they can to that forest, which they successfully do. The AMX-40 actually has to move forward to keep them in line of sight. My MiG-25 RBF is dropping its 8 500-kilogram bombs over where he saw a bunch of units went over there. Took out, I think, no, not an SAS, but took out quite a valuable unit there. 2 missiles went for the AMX-40 by the CR-30, both in fact missed, so that was deeply annoying. But the Vadiscari and the Saparisi Stormworthy are going to be moving up. VAB T-2013s are concentrated on the Saparisi, so the Saparisi are going to be taken out relatively quick. But my LSTR-40s, with no need of having to stay put because they have pretty good stabilizer, are moving up and trying to take out these VABs with their RPG-29s. 2 of the VABs are already down. If they can get their other 2, and they do get another VAB, they just need to reacquire it with their RPG. Can they do it? Or are they going to be ripped apart by these SAS squads? To help them out, I'm bringing a bunch of helicopters as well. This is one thing that the Ripper have an advantage of just the amount of rocket pods that they can bring on their infantry troop carriers. My Mi-24P is going to be peppered by some kind of radar AA. He is going to have to retreat, however, as he is out of Kokon missiles, and there's no helicopters for him to shoot down with his remaining infrared missiles. LSTR-40 has survived for now as the Mi-17 successfully kills off a vehicle here. It looks like... I don't really recognize that off the top of my head, but... VAB AA. I see. So now that the Mi-17 is out of rocket pods, it was beginning to move back, but there was enough AA to quickly capitalize on it. My Mi-8R with its exceptional recon is staying in the back line to be able to spot any units that might try to come forward, as Wacko is bringing some Pram 5s, which are actually a pretty good unit, to take out these infantry that exceptional range. Avia 28, as well as my MiG-25 RBF, are going to be just bombing this area into complete wasteland to make sure that this no longer resembles a town in any way, shape, or form. It needs to be returned to the valley state that it originally served from at the beginning of time. Bringing forward another Mi-24P because I see there's a Leopard 2A4, so he might be pushing, doing a push. I moved up my camp Schwimmer, or Swimmer, I don't know how to pronounce this, but they have moved up. They have exceptional stealth. They are going to try to make sure the enemy doesn't try anything sneaky. Sierra 30 missed both its missiles against the Leopard 2A4, which was annoying, but nothing actually hit it. And SU-7B was doing a radar sweep, got shot down, so I knew that there was radar. They were really good with turning it on and off. Since that was a bit of a throwaway plane, I didn't feel too bad on losing it. And with this smoke, it looks like the enemy is going to be doing a big push. Unfortunately for them, I can see what they're trying to do with this camp Schwimmer on the top of the mountain. So this is actually a pretty good spot. Starting to have a stealth recon units right there. May 29th, we're here basically telling Eurofighter Typhoon, we see you, we're ready, come forward, we dare you. And both decided to back off. Mine's and his. Rocket pods into this town as Priad has managed to get his excellent Machuten into this village area already. I am bringing up some reinforcements of more Saprezi napalm squads to help out the Machuten, which will be valuable in this forest area. Avia 28 launching another bomb. Those Machuten need to actually back the hell up. That is not a very good place. Okay, good. He jumped back. And that big bomb has really devastated those chasseurs, especially Lani Jednot. I'm not good at pronouncing. These recon squads are here. Are going to be pushing into or sniping at the side as the Paddle Branches quickly push forward, as they have 98% accuracy on their main gun and 89% accuracy on their light machine gun at these close ranges. So we are taking this town, but the enemy is also pushing forward heavily. With the massive bomb strike from my bomber squad and the Conqueror's am able to quickly acquire this Leopard 2A4 and more bombs coming out from Priad, who just seems to be all over the place. We are able to stop the enemy push successfully, as I also pushed up all of my helicopters as well, who were just waiting for this moment for them to move forward. Sokos are beginning to open up, backed up by the Groms against these Fenix. These BO-105s are acquiring my Mi-17s, as they did take out all of my Sokos, but my Mi-17s are a bit of a throwaway helicopter, but they just happen to have a decent punch. It forced these helicopters back as they did run out of missiles, and they were going to be pursued by the Mi-24P if they stuck around. Panzer Grenadiers are showing up. The Mi-17s have been split for my convenience, as they are going to acquire with their 4 HE power rockets. And as you can see, they quickly rip apart infantry that they acquire with those really deadly rocket pods. Just a few volleys to take out an entire squad of Panzer Grenadiers. Just four more rockets left of the Mi-17s. Instantly got rid of one squad, and the Vets Skari did a little bit of hodgepodge of building to quickly get into position to hold off the enemy Panzer Grenadiers as they tried to push forward. And the Mi-24 decided to just volley off rockets just in case. So this deck has a lot of rockets, and the enemy needs to beware. Crotel is annoying, but thanks to Wacko's Prams, which have the long range, fairly accurate Conkers, and HE power gun as well, those Crotels are going to be taken out, and the enemy is losing the AA that could threaten us pretty rapidly. My Saprezi have been unloaded as the Mi-17s. One is landed, one is not landed. Not really sure what's up with that. But the enemy is trying to hold off as we are pushing further and further onto this right-hand side. Now that we have this town, it's time to start beginning our push onto Ivan, especially since we have all this stuff here that was supposed to take the town. Just sitting here, it needs to do stuff, and what better way to do stuff than to gain more ground? Seems pretty logical. Mi-17s are going to also move up, see if they can get line of sight on anything that might try to decide to fire back on any of Priad's troops, especially these 5-point truck scouts. This is destruction, so we do need to be mindful of what we're losing, but 5-point trucks is not the end of the world if we lose them. Right now, something is firing from that forested area. A Mancati 6x6 is also moving up. Good sniped out by Priad's ZTC, and SU-24M is going to drop a lot of HE power bombs right in that area. I'm pretty sure he killed stuff. One of his planes got shot down. Another one did also get shot at. Fliegerfaust did move up, and it actually, one missile hit each Mi-4T. But because the Fliegerfaust has a strength 4 or 5 missile, and the Mi-4T has 6 HP, they survived. So this is why I was very picky about getting 6 strength helicopters to bring in my infantry, because that just saved me 20 Vidskari from biting the dust. So now that we know that they have a lot of stuff in here, it's time to burn them out. Priad's going to be pushing in onto the right and run into a bunch of Gurkhas. Mi-17 instantly opens up and stuns and takes out one of the Gurkha 90 squad. This allows the Machuten to also be able to follow up on it, but the enemy has finally brought in an infantry rocket pod helicopter of themselves, and the Lynx AH-7. The only, if not one of the few, helicopters that have rocket pods attached to them. A Hornet was coming in. I think that's an Anzac Hornet. Is that correct? Yes. Dropping 400 or 500 kilogram bombs and taking out the Machutes push. But the Specialini have very good weapons and are able to supplement the loss of Machutes in this area. It's also moving other Machutes up, which will invade to that forest once the napalm subsides. My MiG-29s are going to engage this M16 MLU, especially since it fired at them. And they are going to then hightail it out of there as they have done their job and shut down the first plane that they can get. Machuten are getting against a bunch of... He's not even waiting for the napalm to decide. They're just going to charge in. Screw burning to death. We're going to kill anything we can. Now the napalm is going to start subsiding. And we discovered the CV and have neutralized Ivan. So this will allow us to begin cutting off the point reinforcements and giving us more and more of an advantage. My Mi-17 just stayed back in case anything revealed itself, just to help support the my allied forces. As more and more helicopters are coming in, being an airborne deck, quickly we can capitalize by bringing in reinforcements and troops, and that's what these Mi-8Ts are going to be dropping off. Some infantry, and which type of infantry did I bring? And I think these are the LSTR-40s, if I am not mistaken, if the helicopters can figure out how to land around buildings. Nope, this one decides he is just going to hover over one. Oh, Sea Harriers, anti-radar seaplane is coming in, but with some Prakas and the Nevas being non-radar, that Sea Harrier gets taken out. The Eurofighter Typhoon decides it does not want to be the second course. I brought in a Lazur because it's decided it's time to try these out. They're going to circle around overhead, getting ready to intercept enemy forces, basically jumping in front of these MiG-29s. Lazurs are okay. I actually found out that they actually have 1,000 speed kilometers an hour, whereas these MiG-29s have actually 900 kilometer speed. So these Lazurs will actually naturally get in front of these MiGs and basically tank the shots that enemy missiles might be coming for the more valuable aircraft. So they're a good meat shield, I would say, but they also can pack a pretty lethal punch if those missiles do in fact hit, since they fire all those missiles pretty quickly. RBS-70 is going up against my MiG-25, as my MiG-25 is trying to acquire enemy targets. Rocket pods hitting the RBS-70s is going to stun them out. Their cloud of missiles, all of them did miss. Fletcher missiles going for the AMX-40 and misses, but the Conquerors do take it out. More rockets are going to be unloaded into the enemy's general direction, but it has, my Mi-25 has taken a few missile hits and decide it is about time to retreat as another cloud of missiles do miss, which is a bit surprising. RB-70s are going to fire one last couple of missiles, and the last one does hit just before my Mi-25 gets out of range. That was a bit sad to see happen, but the Wacko is going to go up and try to take out that enemy force. As a Hornet comes in, it's going to come up against these forces. They take out the Prams, but the Specialini, because they are 30 kilometers and very fast, they are able to run out of that bomb range just in time. Machuten are going to be holding up against this Gurkha 90 push as my own Specialini come forward and hold off the enemy Gurkhas. As you can see, I have a lot of helicopters waiting in defensive position. Hornets are coming down the center here. A couple of planes are backing off. A couple of ROMs are going to be quickly opening up against that Hornet. And they do successfully take it down, even though the bombs do drop. Planes are going down. Speciality successfully take out the Gurkhas, so their push to try to stop us from pushing into Ivan has stopped. Wacko has brought in a BRD-M2U to help reinforce Ivan with a better points advantage, and as you can see, we are killing it in the points game. I'm still bunkered up here. I've got some Conquerors M ready to shoot at any vehicles that might come down, the Viz Starry 90s, but I do not expect the enemy to push forward, because if they do push anything here, I have adequate defenses, and that just means I can just spend more points over on this right side push as we head towards Jot, their own main source of reinforcements. Zaka's going to fly around the mountain a bit, fire its Igla missiles, takes out one of the Fennec 20mm. The The enemy does try to have the other 20mm drop in altitude quickly, but does pop back up for another pot shot with my sockle. But now that it's out of Iglov missiles, does get shot down by the BO-105Ps. But the BO-105Ps, with their 4 HE power, are going to be shot down by these autocannons that are carrying the Luandi. Mi-17 also gets shot down by the Stinger missiles of these helicopters, as my lasers quickly do, and all my MiGs quickly do a push and successfully shoot down a couple of planes there. Going to try to get my planes out of the harm's way. They do manage to take out the helicopters, which is why I had them swing by right to have them fire their missiles. And I did lose the other laser, but my MiG-29s got out safe, as the lasers did take the missiles for them. So that was worth it. Sierra 30 is going to fly on the right side. He's going to just keep an eye out to see if there's any tanks in the area or he's going to try to take out these VAB BDAAs. Looks like he's going to take out the VAB BDAAs. Both missiles are fired. One goes down. Winchester, but an F4 FKWS is going for and does take out the Sierra 30. Evac is ordered, and that is a lost anti-tank plane. MiG-29 has discovered there's some Yagari here, and they're just going to pepper them with rocket pods as the Specialini, which have replaced my 2-man recon squad, is going to try to take up their positions. I am trying to get them up here because I knew the enemy forces had recon infantry, so that at close range, those Mi-25 is taking a couple of missile shots, does get successfully taken out as my Specialini come up against Panzer Grenadiers. Given the fact that the Specialini are very good at killing other enemy infantry, and I knew that they were putting infantry up onto this mountain, 2-man squad, recon squads, was not going to do it, so I needed something with a little more firepower to help clear off this mountain and regain eyes on this area. Decided to also bring in some LSDR-40s to back them up against any helicopters that might decide to show up as well. Now, as you can see, we are definitely staging up this position. Cluster munitions going for my helicopters here. Prayad does warn me that they are what they are doing. I should react to this, I'm fairly certain. Or I could just ignore it entirely and just hope that all the missiles miss. Seems to be working so far. Yep, I think I actually, yep, all the missiles missed. Amazing. Another napalm strike coming into this town. This is actually a little bit of a bluff. We don't have anything stationed to capitalize on this, but given that this obscures the enemy's view, they might think that we are trying to do a push and might overreact to this, when really the majority of our forces combined are over on this right side. And all three of us are over here. Me, Priyad, and Wako, we did pretty good coordination in this game. Cluster munitions, not sure what they're going for. Oh, maybe they're going for these Pram recon. Oh dear, one does go down. And they almost out of the cluster range. Will they escape? And they might just escape. And they escaped. Yeah, well done on their part. Leopard 1A5 is not the deadliest tank, but against infantry in open spaces, it does prevent them from moving forward. I'm going to be moving up my Mi-8Ts, spread them out a little bit, just so that we can encompass this area in a wide open rocket death field. Sockles are also moving up in case the enemy tries to push forward with those anti-air helicopters that they seem to be relying on quite a bit. My Mi-8Ts are going to open up with their rocket pods on the Leopard 1A5. A Stormer HVM is going to take out both my Mi helicopters as they flew too close together, and the HE did splash. These Mi-8Ts are going to have to retreat. And they both got hit by the same HE missile again because they also flew too close together. And both get shot down in near symmetry fashion. Wolverine is trying to fly across with his javelin. Conquerors does lose line of sight of it. Sierra 30, I was originally going to bring this in for the Leopard A5, but I decided to instead go for the Stormer, as that was more of a threat to the Sierra 30. Eurofighter Typhoon does come in as my second Sierra 30 follows up and takes out that Leopard. And my MiG-29s are moving forward, and they are undaunted, charging straight against these F4F KWSs. And just before the engagement happened, we actually achieved our minor victory for that game. So we've got, I did pretty decent. 2,000 kills, 1,750 losses. Priad definitely everywhere in this game. Help supplement any kind of failings and backing up everywhere where we needed him to be. Thank you, Priad. You did a wonderful job. Wacko doing an excellent job as well. Lost the initial push, but we made it up later and successfully pushed through to the win. So Sockles, MI24D, and here's a bit of the kill count. Sierra 30, killing off the Challenger 1 and the Stormer. Excellent work on its part. And as you can see, just a general front line forward fighting force. As you can see, there's a lot of my infantry helicopters in here. So that's kind of what makes the Red 4 Airborne deck a little more viable. The infantry troop carriers do have a little bit of lethality to them, but the downside is it does make them a little bit more expensive, so you have to account for that. So I do hope you enjoyed this episode of playing a Eastern Bloc Airborne deck, and I did actually manage to finish the entire video without coughing, and I am glad. I'm going to have a coughing fit after this, but that's for me in my private time. All right, so yep. Thank you all so much for watching. Please do comment down below and give me any suggestions of decks you would want me to make in the future. And I'll see you all in the next deck creations video.